I'm Vicky Perez-Segovia.
And I'm Jessica Bishop.
And you're listening to Through Dangers Untold, a monthly art podcast about traversing the precarious gap between art school and a professional, sustainable art career. And I guess this is going to be kind of the whole podcast because usually we ask, what are you working on this week? But I think the whole topic is really going to be how we as artists and just as people are handling the quarantine and dealing with it, and how and if we're getting artwork done in it, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Woohoo!
Yay!
So what are we working on art? Let's start with that.
I am trying. It has been pretty rough. Because aside from the quarantine, I've been like moving into my new apartment with Adan, and so I only have like some of my art studio moved in, because we decided that was going to be the last thing that we moved in, just because I have so much art studio furniture. I have 5 desks.
Nice.
And what was I going to say? I have been just kind of like trying to make do, and I mean, I have plenty to make art right now. So I've just kind of been starting little projects just to keep myself in the habit of making art. I've been doing little sketches, and I tried to get back to doing like fan art just so that I'm making stuff regularly. But yeah, it's slow going, but I'm trying.
Nice.
And trying is what matters, really.
Honestly, yeah.
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 I think like that's something that I keep trying to tell myself too, like, well, just wake up and try to do one thing. And I'm failing most days, but like I think as long as that intention is there to at least try to do something.
Yeah.
That's kind of the main thing, I think. Or at least, I don't know. We're all gonna have bad days right now, and it's been pretty stressful.
Have you been trying to work on stuff? Or are you trying to give yourself a break right now?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, so I was doing a few things. I'm trying to work on my portfolio right now. That's like more catered specifically to concept art. So I made 2 new projects for that, but that was like a few weeks ago now. So now I've been taking a break to try to do some other life stuff that is not about art. But I'm doing a mentorship right now, at least that I'm starting with Chimeras.
Ooh.
Yes. And I will be starting on making some more stuff with that.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited because like I think especially right now, even if you just have to like make your own schedule, something that's really important to keeping on top of things if you need to stay on top of things is like having little goals, I think. And that's how I've dealt with things forever, really, is like if there's like one thing you need to get done the next day, like write it down.
Yeah.
And no matter like how small it is, like,
oh yeah,
because I've found myself like even with non-art related things lately, just being like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. Like even stuff as simple as like I need to hang these sweaters on hangers.
Yeah.
And it's like even that I wrote down today. I was like, you have to do this because you keep forgetting to do it because you keep like, getting distracted by literally nothing.
Oh, that is so real.
Yeah, then by the end of the night, you're like, wait, the sweaters. Too tired now. Goodbye.
Yeah. I definitely get that. I have this like little notepad that I'm finally using that's kind of like a weekly planner thing, but it's like a notepad that you can like stick on your fridge. It's got a magnet and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And
Oh,
so,
cute.
like, for, like, the week ahead, I'll just do, like, one important task for, like, each day.
Yes.
Nice.
And it's, like, sometimes, like, that's all you need.
Yeah.
It gives you a goal.
Yeah. How about you, Sonnett?
I have been working on art. I do want to add that, yeah, I totally find that breaking things down into like that one step, like you're saying, has gotten me through everything. You know, like
Yeah.
like if I'm having a really bad depression day or a really bad, mental health day, like just having that one step, one
Mhm.
doable goal, one thing that you can do to get done, like that's helped me through super a lot.
Yeah.
So I hear you on all that, and have been doing that a lot lately through this whole thing.
Mhm.
But art wise, yeah, I just finished a big commission.
Ooh.
Oh, you finished it?
I did. I'm gonna post the finished piece tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it is done. I found myself working at like three times slower than I normally worked
Hmm.
during all
That's
of this.
so valid.
Yeah. I think dealing with all of this is incredibly overwhelming.
It is.
And if you have any sort of mental illness or mental health issues, it aggravates all of it. At first it wasn't too bad, and then just as time went on, it just got worse. And so I found myself having to take in between days just to chill and just to take care of myself and just to try and deal with all of it. You
Yeah.
know? Like just deal
Yeah.
with the emotions and deal with processing it and try to just process that. And because of it, I worked incredibly slow.
Yeah.
Which was frustrating. But it was good to do the piece. I loved working on it. It was really fun. And like you said, Jess, it gave me something to work on each day. So that structure was nice. And I hadn't painted a big piece in a long time. So it was really good to kind of refresh all my knowledge and get back in the practice of painting again. And of course, I learned a lot through it, which was nice. But now I'm on a little bit of a break because I was in the midst of working on that piece when all of this hit. And so I feel like I really needed some more downtime and processing and not that like, oh, I got to get this done feeling,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That's, I mean, that's totally fair.
Yeah. So I'm super glad I did it though, because I'm really, I got to paint dragons and I love it.
Yeah.
So that's
I
good.
mean, yeah, if you can at least, make the stuff that you like.
Exactly.
No, yeah, I think I feel like I'm kind of in the same boat where like it's not necessarily that I'm working like slower, like especially not like literally like in the process or anything, but I'm definitely I feel like it's taking more energy than it used to get through stuff,
Yes.
cuz like I tend to work at a fast pace and
Mhm.
like I'll like work at the pace that I'm used to, and then I realize I'm super tired at the end, like more tired than I'm used to being, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to lie down.
Yeah.
I did art too hard.
I arted too hard. Yes.
Sounds like a bad band name or something.
Art too hard. That's gonna be my new death metal band name.
Nice. Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man,
Mhm.
it's just been really tough few weeks, I think. Because it's like, even though you have stuff to do, for some reason it feels kind of pointless in
Yes.
some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we don't know like what's gonna happen next. I mean, different states are different. Like places where I'm in New Hampshire right now, like are already like opening up
Mm.
under like, yeah. And like I know where my family used to live in Florida, like everything is open back up like
Oh, yeah.
normally. Like it's all just like normal.
Mhm.
Like the bars are full and like that kind of blows my mind a bit. But
Yeah.
in Chicago, it's still till June 1st, right?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
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 Yeah, we're supposed to stay inside until the last day of May, and I think June 1st we're supposed to be able to go back out, but I am also very weary about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would be too. Like I haven't really gone out very much because I haven't had to since this all started.
Mhm.
I actually went to the doctor
Yeah.
though. That was actually it wasn't so bad. They seemed pretty. You just had to wear a mask and stuff.
Mm.
But there was like no one in there, which is
Mm.
weird for a doctor's office.
Right,
Yeah.
'cause
You're
usually
usually
there's
there and like
like
waiting for an hour.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I got in right away and everything. I mean, I had to like pre-make my appointment like out by a month,
Right.
but then no one was in there.
They might have also just scheduled everyone's appointments with enough time in between too, so that
Yeah.
people weren't, like, overlapping in the waiting
They
room.
probably did. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Um, I was also I was I was scrolling through one of our conversations right now to try to find what else, that I wanted to bring up in tonight's conversation, and I finally found it. But, like, even though I know I could have asked you to, I was, like, trying not to disrupt the flow of the conversation.
No, do it.
Totally fine.
But just 'cause a bit of like a follow-up of like what we're working on, but also, just kind of like going back to what kind of work we're doing. And one of the things that I kind of found, uh, just because like we're all dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety, and this is definitely, like a sort of like it's a traumatic time for everyone.
Yes.
And so like I was kind of trying to figure out like what kind of like comfort habits are we kind of like falling back on to kind of like help us de-stress even as artists. Like, are there like any art practices that you do that just kind of like that aren't necessarily for like, oh, I'm doing this to be a better artist, but it's like I'm doing this because it feels good to make this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
like, the thing that, like, I kind of found was, like, doing a lot of kind of, like, nostalgia-inspired art, and, like, I had been making little, like, really simple kinda, like, T-shirt graphics that were influenced by a lot of that very kind of, like, poppy, like, early 2000s, like, girl power aesthetic, and kind of, like, applying that to, like, queer pride stuff, which, um just so happened to be appropriate because, June's right around the corner and that's when Pride like it's going to be Pride month and a lot of pride parades, had to get canceled. And it sucks, but it's like we all want to be safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
um but yeah, like that's just like something that I kind of found myself like not navigating, like kind of like moving towards in terms of just like I had this cute little idea and it's like it reminds me of my childhood when I didn't have all these anxieties and worries in the world.
That's a good thing.
But yeah, I'm curious if there are any things like whether it's in your art making or not. It's fine if it's not specifically making things, but are there things that like you kind of find yourself falling back on that kind of bring some comfort in times like this?
I haven't.
Um,
You go first, Jess?
I mean, I made that fan art of Cloud a few weeks ago.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
one was beautiful. I love that
Thank,
so
thank you.
much.
I always feel like I've tried like in the past to draw like Final Fantasy boys, but like we
Mhm.
actually had this discussion earlier this week about something else, but just talking about really like people that are really beautiful. Sometimes they're hard to
Mhm.
draw,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
like when you're talking about a video game character, they're so idealized,
Mhm.
and stylized. So
Yeah. For sure. Sonnet, was there something that you had?
I actually haven't had any time to do that.
Totally fine.
But if I had, I probably would have just done studies, because studies for me are just, I mean, they take brain power, but it's like relaxed brain power.
Yeah.
I can just go on like, okay, what do I need to work on? And this is the thing, and I'm going to do it. And how did I do it? And, like there's something about, it's kind of the same way with video games for me, where
Mm.
it's that kind of relaxed attention, or even knitting, relaxed
Yeah.
attention kind of thing. So I always really, when I can never, if I can't think of what to paint, or if I'm just stuck or whatever, I'll just do studies, because it just helps me just relax and not think about things except what I'm
Yeah.
focusing on, So,
Mhm.
I do
Yeah.
that too. Yeah, it's like kind of meditative.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I feel like I always want to do that. And I'll like maybe start doing a study and then maybe like part of me is like, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I guess it is good because like I'll like start doing a study and then it will feel like tedious for me. And so I'll just be like, I'm just gonna draw something else. And I'll end up doing, just like a regular drawing that I actually feel good about. And I'm just like,
Nice.
oh, this is fine.
Yeah. It's like a
Um,
loosening up exercise then.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I do like that piece that just kind of mentioned about it being meditative. And I think doing studies is something that I think is very present in like your process on it, like that I've seen and that you've also just talked about a lot.
Mhm.
Just because you're very sort of like, I don't have the right word. There's like so many words I'm thinking of. I'm trying not to sound redundant and like an idiot, but like
No.
you're a very like studied artist.
I am.
Yeah.
It's
That's
true.
accurate.
Yeah. But like sometimes it's like that's just like what you need. Like again, like the way an athlete like works out to like maintain their like physique or their, athletic skill.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes it's like because like that's what you know, it's like it's enough like muscle memory almost that like you can just kind of like rely on it,
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
And for me, I think that's just doodling.
That
Because
makes
I do a lot
sense.
of doodling. Like I have a bunch of like there was this like mini like tiny Canson sketchbook that I have with like little tear out pages. And I like when we first moved in, I was like, I'm in the mood to draw finally after like a week and a half. And I was just drawing like little demons. And I
Yay.
started like naming them and numbering them. And I'm just like, well, if I can accumulate enough of these, maybe I'll sell them. Otherwise, they're just this weird little stash of demon drawings that I just have.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, like keep like thinking about just like in general how I find comfort in that sort of like nostalgia. Like I know Jess, you mentioned making that cloud drawing, and then I actually, since we brought up video games, I actually started playing the remake of Resident Evil 2.
Nice.
And like part of it was like because it was a game that terrified me when I was a kid, and I could never get past the first like 5 minutes of that game. But also Leon is super hot. And I'm just like, I need to see how he was animated.
Nice.
And so yesterday I was like playing it, of course, still being very bad at that game and just freaking out, but at least pushing through further than I did when I was a kid. And then also just being very disappointed at like how like I couldn't see his butt as I was moving him. And I'm just like, this is offensive.
How dare they?
It's like, come on. You don't make a hot character and not let me objectify him.
Yeah, come on.
That's a ripoff.
Seriously.
Yeah, I felt like the entire point of the Final Fantasy VII remake was just to objectify the characters.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, literally everyone was attractive in that.
Yeah.
And they like full on leaned into it. So like I had to do some fan art, you know.
Yeah. Makes
Like I
sense.
thought about doing more, but I was like, I don't wanna jinx it. Like this one turned out pretty okay.
Right.
I don't wanna keep pushing this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I started drawing feet yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I said that because it sounds funny, but I was drawing feet because I'm really bad at it.
Fair. And same. I probably should practice feet, but like me and Adan have this like running gag where we're constantly accusing each other of having a foot fetish. Disclaimer, not that there's anything wrong with fetishes. I'm not trying to kink shame, but
No, I get you. I get you. It's
Yeah.
definitely like not my thing either.
right.
But yeah, it's just one of those things like they're so hard to draw.
They are.
They're
They
so
are.
weird.
Yeah, they are very strange.
And it's the toes are strange, but then also just like feet, like the shape of the feet and
Yeah.
the way that you like that they're angled from like
Mhm.
the way that we see them on someone else.
Yeah. Like
And it's so easy to make them look bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like foreshortening on feet is such a nightmare.
It
Yeah.
is. It's really weird.
And then with how different they look in different types of shoes.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to practice.
Yeah, like if you were to like trace a silhouette of a person like just like facing forward, it's like the shape of the foot is just a nub, but it's like when you look at the picture, you know it's just foreshortened because you just got to get, you know, the details of the shoe right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to do some like different types of shoes. I'm gonna keep going with it because I only ended up doing just like 2 pairs of heels.
Do
But
it.
like I really need to do more than that. And at
Yeah.
least like
Mhm.
it is something like because it is a study for me, it's kind of mindless,
Yeah.
you know. It's like, all right, I can just turn my brain off and try not to think about anything other than getting these like colors right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I need to go back to doing just general studies. I mean, I did start that digital painting of Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks as
Mhm.
like a digital painting practice, but like part of me is like once that I realized that I was struggling with the likeness, even though like it wasn't supposed to be about the likeness, it was just supposed to be about getting practice digital painting. I was just kind of like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like you don't have to do studies if you don't want to do them. You know what I mean? Like they don't really help. But like I
Mhm.
totally understand what you're saying. And
Mhm.
also like I struggle, and I'm sure you guys struggles with this too. It's like I want to do studies of things,
Mhm.
but then I'm like, but if it's bad, what's the point? Because I can't post it, which is the stupidest
Yeah.
like mentality to have. But
Yeah.
it's still a
No,
mentality that I struggle with.
I get that.
It's pretty common. You know, it's encouraged, really.
Yeah.
That mentality. But
Right.
honestly, though, it is stupid. It's like, these are your sketches. They're gonna look like poop. Who cares? Like, just
Right.
Mhm.
paint and draw poop. Who
Yeah.
cares?
It's like just sketch and be silly.
How are you gonna get better if you don't have a bunch of crappy drawings? You know, like,
Mhm.
that's just,
Exactly.
you're gonna have a bunch of them. I have hundreds, thousands of crappy drawings at this
Oh,
point.
same.
And you just,
Yeah.
you know, you just figure things out and learn and grow and try again and do another one and bleh. You know?
Yep. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know. It's hard to escape that feeling, though. I gotcha.
It is. And I think like just like with Twitter and Instagram and stuff, everyone feels it all the time.
Yeah. There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that sort of like um curated social media makes it really hard to like want to try and like put the work in.
Yeah.
Um only because like we don't see people putting the work into their stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like the whole point of like social media and like promoting yourself as an artist on social media is to be like, oh hey, like this is, you know, a finished piece. Look how shiny it is. You know, it's not about like, look at this very bad, you know, first sketch that I did that
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's not impressive or interesting at all.
Right. And like artists are curating their work just like we all curate like our personal social media posts too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's so easy to forget.
It's really easy.
Yeah.
So, should we talk about that art school discourse?
Ooh. Yes.
Yeah.
All
Feel
that
the
Twitter
tea.
drama?
Yeah, we can talk about that. For
Ugh.
sure.
Yeah. I mean, I know we've gone over it before we talked on the podcast,
Yeah.
but like I like the discourse like never ends, it feels like.
Mhm. Time
And
to put on my anti-capitalism hat.
Yay!
It's like go on an anti-capitalism rant.
Oh, beautiful. I
My
support this,
God.
comrade. Sign me up.
like
Uh-huh.
I think we can all agree that like everyone is different and like everyone needs a different level of structure. But I
Yeah.
think if I could go back, I don't know though. Like growing up for me, it was like basically you had to go to college,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys had that same experience.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's like you have to go and so you blah blah blah. I think like I'm glad that I picked like we've had a lot of conversations about the school that we went to.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like looking at now at like how expensive some of these other schools are now, especially now that a lot of them will be online next semester
Yep.
because of everything going on. Like, okay, like I felt like our school was expensive, but like I didn't realize how expensive some of the other schools were because I never bothered to look into it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And like seeing how much SCAD is for 4 years,
Mhm.
that was pretty shocking to me.
Yeah.
Maybe it shouldn't have been that shocking.
Right?
So I was like, "Geez." But
Yeah.
I don't think I'd wanna pay that much for an online school. I mean, I don't wanna pay that much for anything. But
Yeah. I feel like especially when online schools were kind of like first like a big thing that people were like, "Oh, I can get my degree online and whatever." It's like the whole idea was that they were like more affordable and
yes,
accessible.
Yeah.
yes. They were for people that, like, didn't feel like they could do a like, quote, unquote, "normal college experience."
Right. And it's like, this doesn't even like, I feel like undermine isn't even the right word. It's more like this just does it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so much that you're paying for, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're going,
Facilities
it's
primarily.
Yeah.
and if you can like I don't know, like I've been doing like research into like other like one-on-one mentorships with like artists and stuff that
Mhm.
you can get, and like that's significantly cheaper than
Mhm.
going to school and just trying to work with people directly. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah, I don't know, it's really tough. It's really tough. I
Yeah.
think there is though a really bad discourse that you can't take time off from school. I don't think that's fair
Oh,
that
yeah.
people think that, or
Yeah.
that you can't take longer to graduate, like, or
Mhm.
you like, because what's wrong? Like, people shouldn't think there's anything wrong with only taking a few classes at a time or having
Mhm.
to take some semesters off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I know a lot
if
of
school
people
is
who've
what you
had to
want to
do that.
do, yeah, like, and if school is what you want to do and that's how you have to do it, like, just do it that way. And it's
Yeah.
not gonna like the only thing it could possibly diminish is maybe like, I don't know, like I don't know. I don't think it really would diminish anything, to be honest.
Same.
Like, oh, you're not with the same 100 other people for 4 years straight. Oh no.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that's not exactly like um a negative, you know.
Mhm. I
Uh,
I I think a lot of that is definitely a lot of that sort of residual mentality that people like, especially like younger adults who are like just starting college that are like 18, they get very worried about like finishing college on time because it's like you're pressured to get through elementary school and through high school, within a certain amount of time. Because it's like you don't want to be held back in school or whatever. But it's just like when you're an adult, it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like
right,
no,
exactly. It
no
doesn't.
one cares.
No. It's get it done when you get it done.
Yeah,
It's like no one asks those questions anyway.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
well, how many years did it take you to get through college?
Yeah,
right.
nobody cares.
Like what? Or like I don't know, at least as far as like in art, I mean, it's probably different for other industries, but like in art, like no one asks where you went either.
Right.
It's like no
Well,
one is interested.
cause like the other thing too is that like people change careers, you know?
Yes.
Like you could have been, maybe like a freelance designer or even working with like an agency in-house or something for like 10 years and like the company went bankrupt,
Yep.
you know? Maybe
Mhm.
that whole field, kind of went under. It's hard to find work in that field. So what do? You might have to switch careers. You might have to switch fields. You might have to go back to school and get a master's or get a certificate in something. You
Yep.
know?
Mhm.
It's like the world and the economy and society aren't as predictable as we like to think.
No, not at all. And that was certainly my experience.
Yeah.
I went to school and then came back and worked in corporate and things collapsed in
Yeah.
2008 and came back and you just do what you have to do. I took generals
Exactly.
at Loyola, whatever.
Yeah, it's like cool. I'm an adult doing something different.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Exactly.
It's like usually the only thing that matters is that like you can keep a consistent income and hopefully afford health insurance. Like that's kind of all that really matters in adulthood.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so
So
yeah.
I have my list still of like wise
Oh,
art teachers told you.
yes. Read
Should
the
we go through
list.
my list?
read the
Yeah.
list.
Okay.
Yes.
You can't sit and paint. That's a lie. That's
Oh,
so bad.
yeah. That was so. I personally have not heard that, but that is like that doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
What?
Like, okay, so the reasoning behind it is because you won't step back from your work or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so yeah, like I get it. Like it makes it harder to like get up, you know,
Mhm.
literally burns more calories or whatever. But
Yep.
but you
Okay.
can sit and paint. Like it's unrealistic to expect that
Yeah.
everyone can stand for hours and
Mhm.
hours. Like no one does that.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
I mean, I've stood in a line for hours, but that's when I was 12 and I was trying to get an autograph. And that's the only time I was willing to stand.
Yeah, and it's not like you were, I don't know. Standing in line for something is like a lot less labor, in my opinion, than like
Oh yeah.
trying to stand and draw for hours. Okay. No one,
Right?
I don't know anyone who does that.
I mean, I'm sure there are people who do, and that's fine, but it's like, if you don't, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can still make art. You can still make beautiful art.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I sit down. I am a sitter. I'm an art
Yeah.
sitter.
Yeah. I mean, I do both. I'm a very fidgety person.
Mhm.
And I can't just be standing or just sitting. I need to go back and forth between the two
Yes.
constantly.
Me too.
You'd be a good candidate for one of those annoying desks that like go up and down.
Oh my god, a standing desk? I want a standing desk so
Like
bad.
a standing desk, but then also like that you can push it back down to be not
Yeah.
a standing desk.
With the like hydraulics.
Mhm.
Yeah, or whatever the hell. I don't know how it works.
I really want one of those.
Yeah, I think that would be perfect for you.
I agree. I don't have enough money for that, but I want one desperately.
Yeah, I could see those being expensive. I've never looked into it because I
Yeah.
don't want to have a standing desk, but
That's fair.
yes. I wrote down the one that you said, which was you need a Mac, which is definitely like
Yeah.
I think that's like popular among like weird hipster design men.
Yeah.
If you know the type I'm talking about.
Yep.
The Mac Bros.
Yep. Oh
Like-
my god, that was always just so funny. They're like, "Oh, cuz like you're going to eventually try to work with a company and like they're all going to have Macs and you're going to have a trouble converting files." I'm like,
No,
"The
you're not.
files come like the file format is from Adobe."
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's Adobe that everyone is using. I mean, and honestly, even so, like there's a lot of people that would rather you didn't just give like Photoshop files or like InDesign files. They're like, give me a TIFF or
Yeah.
a PDF,
Right.
Mhm,
you
mhm.
know?
I find PDFs infinitely confusing, but that's another story.
I have like I take like a weird delight in PDFs, but I'm also the kind of person that like really enjoys making unnecessarily elaborate PowerPoints. So I don't know what that says
Nice.
about me.
I think it just that makes sense though, like from your Instagram stories. Well, like I love it because like
Yeah.
I used to make like PowerPoints as a kid about all my favorite games.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, I used to do that kind of stuff. So I get it.
Love it.
But yeah, you don't need a Mac. You can use whatever
don't.
you want and
You don't.
like you can just learn the
Yeah.
other like it's not that hard to learn Mac. You like
It-
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, oh my god, the other thing that always annoyed the hell out of me was that people would be like, "Oh, because like Mac screens are better." It's like, first of all, if you knew computers, you would know the greatest fucking screens ever are fucking nasty ass gritty CRT screens.
Okay, that's not true.
They're
just-
just so fun to work with.
Okay.
But
No, maybe
but
I
yeah.
don't know. No.
If
But okay, I see what you're saying.
yeah. No, but like yeah. Mac screens, yeah, they're fucking great. But it's not going to stop me from being able to use literally everything on the computer. It's like you can get a decent monitor. You can even work off of a shitty monitor, honestly.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
you just
fine.
need the software. Maybe not even the software. If you're an artist, maybe you draw traditionally and you just need a scanner.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think I wrote on the next one was you need like X brand, like whatever brand you need. Like I
Yes.
think that also really applies to using Adobe products because
Yep.
like you don't
'Cause
have
you
to
don't
use
need to.
Adobe products.
You really do not.
Like, would I recommend that you learn how to use them? Yes, but do
Right.
I think you need to own them? No.
Right. Exactly.
Like you can rent them or watch YouTube videos or there's other options. And like now, like as much as I don't like their whole thing of you have to pay a monthly fee, that's at least like for if you want to learn something real quick, you can pay for a month
Yeah.
and pick it up.
Right.
And so you don't need to you just don't need these products. You don't need them all.
You really don't.
Or like you don't need a super fancy tablet. That's a big one.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I used the same tablet for about 10 years. It was this really old Graphire Wacom Graphire, whatever the hell it was called, Pat, and I used it and it was like super like it had like juice like stuck on the inside, I think. And like the mouse was like you could like all the parts inside were broken and you would like rattle it.
Hell yeah.
And like it was ridiculous.
That's amazing. Yeah, like like there are a lot of really good like other brands that make more affordable drawing tablets. And kind of like going back to your bullet point, Jess, it's like you don't need a specific brand because getting specific to technology is not going to make you a better artist. Practicing and
Yes.
working on your art is what makes you a better artist.
Yes.
And at least making an attempt to discipline yourself, because I feel like I should, practice what I preach. But
No, I mean, I don't know. It's just like it's true though. But there's a difference between like buying something just because you enjoy it and want to have fun with it, and like thinking that this is what you have to do to be like industry ready.
Exactly.
Yeah, the knowledge and the technique and skill and practice and all that. Like you said, it's so much more important. Yeah.
Yep. What's next on the list?
Okay. Number 4 is you need to learn to draw from life. There's like sometimes people will be like, you need to learn from life or else your stuff will look flat. And like, I mean, maybe,
I never quite understood that one. Like, how?
Like, yeah, I feel like I understand where it comes from, and I do think it's good practice, but it's not going to end your art career. And depending on what kind of artist you are, like especially if you're an illustrator or like a cartoonist, it's like, yo, just develop a style and aesthetic. You can draw however the fuck you want and use what it references however you want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you can't draw from life, who cares? That's your style now.
Yeah, and like I think a lot of that also implies like that you like have the time or like money and stuff to go to do like live models and things like that. And like that's just like I mean there's a lot of resources for that, but that's a whole other conversation. Um
Yeah. I mean there's plenty of stuff online that you can just on YouTube they have like that Croquis Cafe, which is like basically a live drawing session where it's timed and everything. So it's like the resources, if you want them, they're there. You're just not in the room with them, you know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would still argue that that's not drawing from life because they suck. But
yeah, I've definitely heard that before too, where I've had like some teachers who were like, oh, but like nothing's the same as like drawing from something that's really in front of you because you can see the depth and the dimensions and everything. It's like you can still get an understanding of depth and dimensions, especially because there are a lot of resources, like you said, Sonnett, online. It's like people will have, you know, a website of just like 3D models you can just rotate. And it's like, if you're getting an understanding of the shape, it's like that's enough to help you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like if you really, really want to draw from life, I mean, you know, do the cafe thing, you know? If you live with people, draw the people that you live with. If you don't live with people, draw objects around you, you know?
Yeah.
It's like if you're very desperate to draw things from life, it's pretty easy to do, but it's like it's not gonna like cripple your ability if you don't.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I feel like it's one of those urban legend things that happens where people keep passing that thing down.
Mm-hmm.
And people just say it because that's what you're supposed to say.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what my teacher told me when I was a freshman.
Kind of like number 5, which is you can't use mechanical pencil.
Yeah, well, what is that? That's nonsense.
That's one I've heard. It's like you just can't get the lines like thick enough or right, or like you can't do very line weight with a mechanical pencil. And I'm like, yes, you can.
And what if you want your style to be that way?
Right. It's like, ugh.
There are some amazing, amazing drawings done with just mechanical pencil. So
yeah.
Yes. And like it comes down to like that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like that's also one of those things that's a matter of like preference and style.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you're happy with how your work looks using certain materials, then you know, keep working with them. Get to know them better. And you can do that with mechanical pencils. It's like mechanical pencils have a really beautiful quality to them. You know, and like especially if you're going with like super fine like lead, you know, you get like really beautiful delicate stuff that you can make with it. Or even if you're drawing with like really fat lead too, you know, it's like you get like a nice bold line that's like super even. And that's really fun to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I feel like the same argument can be applied to some people are like, you can't use ballpoint pen.
Oh my god, I hate that. I will draw with whatever the hell I want.
I know several fine artists who use ballpoint pen.
Yeah.
Ballpoint pen is great.
Yep.
I love it. It's like a soft ink.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I would honestly, it's like the amount of sort of like viral videos of like people that like draw with ballpoint pens that make really like cool like hyperrealism stuff. It's like their work is fine.
Yeah.
Like they did it.
Anything where people are just like, no, you can't use this media, I think is just automatically that person's opinion, you know?
Yeah. It's like maybe you can't.
Yeah. Nice. You drop the mic.
Yeah. It's like just because you didn't figure it out doesn't mean someone else won't.
That's right. And that goes again to show like it doesn't matter what you use. Like just make art.
Yeah. Exactly. Which leads into number 7. You don't have to draw every day. So you know, you do need to keep making art, right? But like you need to make art every day is definitely a myth.
Yeah. That is the fastest way to like burn yourself out and like start hating yourself.
And get tendinitis.
Yeah, it's like I think like a good example, I don't know if this is a great example, but I'm going to use it. Like, you know how when you're lifting, you're supposed to lift every other day, like arm day, leg day, you
Mhm.
Yeah.
know, like I feel like the same principle can be applied to drawing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You don't want to burn yourself out with it. Do what doesn't burn you out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if that is every day, that's awesome. If it's every
Right.
other day, that's also awesome. Especially if you want like a career doing this, you have to remember like theoretically you're going to be drawing like 8 hours a day, right?
Right.
Maybe that's you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then you're probably not going to draw on the weekend. I know some people do, but and you're probably going to do something else at night.
Right.
It's just it's not important, and you will still improve as long as you are still practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just you don't have to do it every day. It's just good practice to try to do it as much as you can, but it's not imperative. It's just not.
Yeah. It's an
Absolutely.
unrealistic expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Another good one is digital art isn't real art, which I've gotten plenty of times.
Yeah. That is speaking of things that will never die on Twitter.
That is just so dumb.
It is. It's completely stupid. It's a stupid argument that wastes everyone's time. Right?
Yep, it does, and it's just like it's just like why,
Yeah.
let me like fire back. Collage isn't real art.
Right?
There, shots fired.
Shots
Like,
fired,
honestly,
Dada
though.
is.
It's like it's just people need to get over it.
Yeah, it's a really dumb. I always get so tired when it comes up. Like, why? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. It's all art. Just stop.
It's just people trying to gatekeep.
Oh, absolutely. And like
I think it's people trying to get likes on Twitter.
that too.
Oh, that too. But
Like-
that's been like an argument before Twitter.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
it's also people just being like, it's like a whole mentality. It's like a real artist mentality, quote unquote.
What
Yeah,
does
it's like-
that
real artist.
even mean?
Exactly.
Real artist, like who? What?
Like that, and like the whole idea of like, oh, like outsider art and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
like the idea that people want to like restrain art to like a specific definition.
Yep.
It's like it's such a fluid thing
Yes.
that has existed since the beginning of fucking humanity.
Yep.
And it's just like it's like it's an expression. That's kind of all it is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, like and building off that, number 9 is
Nice
art
segue.
has to have meaning,
Mm.
Ugh.
which is another kind of like traditional art argument that
Mhm.
goes along with digital art isn't real art. Art has to have feeling and meaning and blah 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 blah.
Hate it.
And there's no like because there's totally utilitarian art. So much art is utilitarian,
Yeah, probably the majority
and
of art
it doesn't
is.
have to. What?
Probably the majority of art is utilitarian.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
used in our day-to-day lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to have like some sort of abstract
Whoop.
thing going on.
Sorry.
No worries.
My alarm just went off.
No problem. We couldn't hear it.
Okay, good.
But yeah, that's so true, Jess.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, actually, okay, we went through them all. Yeah,
Ooh.
that was the big one. Art has to have meaning. Because then after that, I wrote, "You have to go to school," and then I wrote, "You don't have to go to school." And in 11, I was like, "They're both myths."
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. The like whether you should or shouldn't go to school, that's an extremely personal and individual decision.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and it's like I don't think I regret my decision.
Yeah.
at all, and I hope that most people don't regret, but there are so many people that do regret it, and
Yeah. Like, I am of the mind of that, like, school is worth trying.
Yeah.
Like, you
yeah,
don't have to. I don't think anyone is necessarily going to regret not going to school, or in the sense of, like, if you've, like, figured something out and you maybe, like, have a trade, or even you got into your career of choice without school, it's like, yeah, you're probably fine. But it's like, if you haven't gone to school and you're kind of like, "Oh, man, I wish I had gone to school," it's like, you can still go.
Yeah.
You can just go to school.
Exactly.
yes,
It's
you
not, the
can.
decision isn't permanent. Like, you can change your
Exactly.
mind later.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, like, I think when you're younger and you go to school, there's always this, like, idea, like, "This is my permanent decision, and I'm stuck with my
Mhm.
choices the rest of my life," and, like, even in my 20s, I still feel that all the time. I'm like, "You made such poor decisions, and you'll never, ever recover," and that's
Right.
just simply not true,
Right.
and, like, you can choose to do art and go to school for art anytime you want.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not like, I don't know, modeling, scuba diving? I don't know. There's gotta be something that you have to worry about age,
Yeah.
but, like, um, but it's just not one of those things,
Mhm.
and, um, I think there's a lot of language out there, and we talk about this a lot with, like, people talking on Twitter and just saying things for attention or, well, likes, really,
Mhm.
not and, people just kinda say fiery things, and I think that make people feel bad a lot of time, and,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I think the moral of the story is whatever you decide to do for yourself is totally acceptable,
Yeah,
and everyone's process and story is different.
Totally. And
absolutely.
and especially now, like, I mean, that decision is even more personal because, like,
Mhm.
I mean, some people are going to want to go to school to get away from their family situation, you know? Or
Yeah.
some people are going to want to go to school because they need that routine. They need that to structure, you know? And some people are
Yeah.
going to not want to go to school because they don't want to pay for online classes, or they don't think the
Mhm.
value is good, or they're afraid, to be in danger. I mean,
Yeah.
I think even more now, people, have a lot of things to think about before they make that decision.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a tough one, and I wish everybody good luck trying to
Yeah.
navigate that.
Honestly, same.
Yeah, and I have my husband he works at a school library, so he's like seeing it on the staff side and
Mhm.
on the institutional side, and it's extremely stressful.
Yeah, I
So
can
like,
imagine.
there's a lot that all goes into it. So yeah.
Oh boy.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in
Yeah,
this next
it's
while.
kind of it's scary, and, like,
Yeah.
I feel bad for people that are jumping in, but I think also, everything works out differently for everyone, and the opportunities will theoretically still be there. And, like, as
Mm.
someone
Yes.
who's also looking for a job right now, and granted, there's a privilege of wanting a job in games where things are easier to adapt to remote working,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but a lot of companies are just doing fully remote work. They're just like, we'll just onboard you remotely because that's what's safe.
Right.
And so I think
Yeah.
that's a definite positive.
Yeah.
Uh,
It is.
and that's also, like, great and gives more people opportunities, um, to do things that, remotely, which is great. So, I
Yeah.
think it's not, like, totally hopeless.
Yeah. Yeah,
Agreed.
it could be some options open for people that they didn't have before, like you were saying, which
Mhm.
is cool.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get some interesting stuff out of this in the future. Right now, it's just kind of sad, um, but hopefully it is not going to be sad forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And things will get to like a new type of not to be super annoying and say the new normal, but also some sort of new adapted normal here.
Yeah, like there's definitely a lot of adjustments that that just need to be made.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think maybe a lot of this stuff should have been made already,
Oh, absolutely.
With a lot of like, especially like remote working and stuff. I'm like, this, companies could have been doing this already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yup.
Well, I'm glad that you are all doing okay despite all of this.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
I am also glad.
Yeah. I think about you all a ton.
Yeah.
Think about all of I really do.
We think about you too.
Oh, good.
That's why we send you so many messages.
I love it. It's wonderful. I know I'm quiet a lot because I get busy or I'm just tired, but it's nice. I love it.
You can't stop us chatterboxes.
Good. Please don't. So I hope everybody out there is taking good care of themselves and being kind to themselves, forgiving themselves when they're not able to work as hard as we usually do. Mm-hmm. And reaching out to each other, checking in with each other. And just, I hope all the best for all of you and that you're all safe and well.
Hugs for everyone.
Yeah, lots of hugs for everybody.
Absolutely.
From 6 feet away, though.
Yes, of course. Very safe hugs.
Virtual hug.
Yay!
Facebook Care React.
Yes.
Zoom call.
Jackbox games.
Yeah. My extended family tries to do one more Zoom call.
Oh my god.
When we've never done them ever. Oh. Jesus.
Yeah. Maybe I'll survive the Zoom calls. On that note, unless anyone else has anything to say.
The lesson we learned today is that everything is a lie and you need to rest.
Yes. I like it.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you've been listening to Through Dangers Untold.
Okay.
And our logo was created by Karen Hodo. You can find her online at camhododesigns.com. And you can find me at sonnettshelline.com. And also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And Vicky, where can they find you?
You can find me anywhere online as Vixtifer. Instagram at Vixtifer, Twitter at Vixtifer, Facebook.com/Vixtifer, Vixtifer.com. I always forget to promote my own website. My Patreon is a bit kind of like on pause right now just because like things are very difficult.
Yes.
So, follow my Instagram. I'm trying to post like links to my shops on Instagram where you just have drop ship services. And I would say follow me on Instagram. That's where shit makes sense, I guess.
Nice. Jess?
Jess?
Oh, yeah, me. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at JRUBishop. And you can find me on my website too at jessicarubishop.com.
And please join us on June 10th for our next topic. And thank you so much for listening. And thank you for hanging out with us. And we hope you're all well. And we will see you next month.
Bye.
Bye.